All right, let's get into it. Number one, obviously, is Fernando Mendoza. Number two, I think the Jets are going to go Arvell Reese at number two. Although I think Ruben Bain is a monster, the tape, he has the best tape out of him, Bailey, and Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese's upside is just higher than Ruben Bain's or David Bailey's. Will he ever hit that upside? Remains to be seen. But I think the Jets have to go edge here. They wouldn't have traded Jermaine Johnson if they didn't plan to go edge. And I think all three of these guys, Bain, Bailey, and Arvell Reese, could turn out to be perennial Pro Bowlers. So I think they go with the guy with the highest upside, and that would be Arvell Reese. No diss to Ruben Bain, who I think is just an absolute monster. And I think he comes off the board right after Arvell Reese does to Arizona. Despite the arm length issues, I do not care. And I know Arizona does have Josh Sweat who's coming off a really good year. They have Walter Nolan on the interior. They could use one more edge rusher. And a guy like Ruben Bain who can play on the inside as well, and he's good and run fit. I think this is a good versatile piece that they could use, not only on the edge, but on the interior to go next to Walter Nolan. He could really line up anywhere on the defensive line. Give me Ruben Bain to pair with Sweat and Walter Nolan. Tennessee, I just think they go best player available. That's how it is. And I think the best player available right now would be, really it'd be it's either David Bailey or Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs, but at a positional value in BPA, you go David Bailey here. The Giants at 5, they need linebacker help. They just released Bobby Okereke. They're not re-signing Micah McFadden. They couldn't stop the run, get one of the best off-ball linebacker prospects we've seen in a long time. A physical freak. They go Sonny Styles at 5. The Browns need a lot of different things. They need offensive help. I think they go with the best tackle on the board. A lot of people have it as Francis Mauiaga. I have not done my homework on this tackle class yet, but we'll go Mauiaga to Cleveland. The Commanders, I think Jordan Tyson is a match made in heaven for the Washington Commanders. I think you have an aging Terry McLaurin who is still a really good weapon. Jordan Tyson's going to be a much cheaper option than bringing back Deebo Samuel. This gives, if the Commanders are planning to go Jordan Tyson, and I assume he would be there at 7, this gives the Commanders, if they know this already, so much leverage in free agency. Just be like, all right, we're going to address the offensive side of the ball in the draft. Their offensive line's in a decent spot. They could use an interior offensive lineman, but they could just hammer defensive acquisitions in free agency, and they have so much cap space, and then just come back in the draft and go get an elite weapon in Jordan Tyson, who I think is the best wide receiver in this class. He's the best separator. He's the best after the catch. He's not as great at the point of the catch as Makai or Carnell Tate is, but he does it at a pretty consistent level. He tracks the ball at a ridiculous level. I think Jordan Tyson's the best receiver in this class. Pair him up with Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and a really good offensive line, as long as Josh Connolly's the guy at right tackle, and the Commanders' offense could be a top 5 unit again in the NFL next season. So Jordan Tyson to the Commanders at 7, and that would just be fucking porn for me. No, not really. Porn's not good, but it'd be eye candy. It'd be like, it would just be awesome to watch my favorite quarterback. He's probably Jaden Daniels, probably my favorite quarterback in the league. Go with Jordan Tyson, who's my favorite receiver in this class. The Saints at number 8. They need guys too, man. I think their offensive line's in a good spot, but they need help defensively. And who better to help them defensively than Caleb Downs? And if you told Saints fans that, yeah, you're gonna get Caleb Downs at 8, like 2 weeks ago, they would not have believed it. Like, he felt like a top 5 guy, but with this injury concern stuff coming out about Caleb Downs, I think he's going to slip a little bit. And then right here at the Saints would just be unbelievable. They're probably losing to Mario Davis. They're losing Cam Jordan. They're losing Alontae Taylor. They need help all over. And Caleb Downs isn't just a secondary player. He can line up all over the fucking field. Kyle Hamilton, Nick Eamon type of vibe. Incredibly high IQ, great tackler, great in coverage, great in zone coverage. He gets his head around to find the ball when he's targeted. He's just unbelievable. Get him at 8. And the Saints now have a nice young core to try and surround Tyler Shuck with, get him a defense there. And one more receiver or running back in the later, not running back, receiver in the later rounds could be very beneficial for New Orleans as well. And then number 9, I mean, pencil it in, man. Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs at number 9, just transcending that offense. And Andy Reid offense that people forget is built on running the football. Think about Kareem Hunt. Think about LaShawn McCoy. Think about what Isaiah Pacheco was for that Chiefs team a couple of years ago, right? The Bengals at 10, Mansour Delane, if he is there, this is my 3rd mock draft. I have finally dove, or 4th mock draft. I have finally dove into some Mansour Delane tape, especially against Clemson. That was all I needed to see. This dude is sticky as fucking coverage. He gets his head around when the ball's in the air. He doesn't draw a lot of pass interference penalties. He has good ball skills. He catches the ball with his body, but doesn't drop the ball, and that's more than you could ask for a corner. You want your corner. You'd rather your corner be Pat Surtain than Trayvon Diggs. Like, will be locked down in coverage, and when the ball's in your air, make a play on it. But we don't need you to get 10 turnovers a game if you're gonna shut a wide receiver 1 out of the game. And I think Mansour Delane has the ability to do that. There are some concerns with his size, But he was in press coverage against Clemson, and he was the receivers. Although Clemson receivers were not the greatest, they were having a tough time getting off the line. So I like Mansour Delane. I've only seen him lose one rep, and that was to Casey Concepcion, who I think will be making an appearance later in this draft. But Mansour Delane to the Bengals here seems like a layup. They do need help on the defensive line, but I just think Delane would be the best defensive player at this point. No disrespect to Peter Woods, no disrespect to Keldrick Falk, but I just think Delane at a premier corner position, him and DJ Turner would be a really, really good CB duo. Delane to the Bengals at 10. The Dolphins could use a receiver. The Dolphins could use some secondary help as well. I think Jermod McCoy makes a whole lot of sense here. I think they could use some help on the offensive line too, and Caleb Lomu makes a lot of sense here. Spencer Fano. I don't know why this fucking app has Spencer Fano lower than Caleb Fumu. Maybe there's something I'm missing here, but I have a hard time finding that to be the truth. Oh, this is really interesting. I feel like they could go receiver here, and I think the best player on the board right now is a wide receiver. I do. I think the best player on the board right now is either Carnell Tate or Makai Lemon, and those are two guys that I just continue to just go back and forth on in my brain. Oh man, I don't know. They need a lot. Their defensive line is really good. They could go corner here. They really could go corner, but they also need offensive line help. They need wide receiver. I think they go best player available on the offensive side of the ball. And right now, that's either Carnell Tate or Makai Lemon. But there are rumors circulating about Makai Lemon being a little bit of a head case, kind of. I don't know. I'm not in the fucking rooms with it. These are just reports. So we got to go with Carnell Tate here. Big body, contested catch guy, who very underrated route runner, not giving you much after the catch, but really good separator on deep routes down the field. Incredible ball skills. Always makes a play on the ball. Good body control when the ball's in the air. Carnell Tate is a fucking dog. Very good compliment to Jalen Waddle, who has the speed. Like, that's the only thing Carnell Tate doesn't have is elite down the field speed, even though that wasn't a problem. He was averaging 19 yards per catch. Like, he was a big play problem. And the reason his production wasn't as high, even though he had back-to-back seasons with like 800 yards. Would you rather throw the ball to Carnell Tate or Jeremiah Smith, right? If you're Will Howard or Julian Sant. So I think that like the production's not a problem. It's 19 yards a catch. That is production. Give me Carnell Tate to Miami here at 11. And that sets up the Cowboys, who need a corner. Jermod McCoy falling right into their lap. That's a layup. And then the Rams at 13 are a very interesting team now. After trading for Trent McDuffie, I don't know if they go safety, the Oregon safety here, or if they try and go, or if they go weapon here. And I just think Makai Lemon in this Rams offense with Puka. I've taken him every single draft here. They've taken Makai Lemon in every single fucking draft. We're going to do it again. I mean, I think he's the best player on the board here. I think he's the best player on the board at this point. So they're going to go Makai Lemon at 13. Just him, Puka, Devontae. Just makes so much sense if the board breaks that way. The Raiders at 14 now after trading Max Crosby. This is very interesting now. They have a lot of things they could do here. I think it would suck to see Makai Lemon come off the board right now, but if Caleb Lomu or Monroe Freeling is staring them in the face at 14, they go out and get their franchise tackle, and I think that's Monroe Freeling here at 14. The Bucks at 15, they need defense. They need edge rusher. I think the best defensive player on the board right now is, honestly, you want me to be completely fucking honest who I think it is? It's D'Angelo fucking Ponce. But he's not going to go this high. So I think Peter Woods here or Keldrick Falk makes a lot of sense to Tampa Bay. They could go with the guy like Messidor. They could go with the guy, not TJ Parker, not Lee Hunter. Where is he? Where the fuck is Cassius Howell? Where's Cassius Howell? They could go with a guy like Cassius Howell or Messidor here, but I just think Folk and Woods offer more than they do on the top end and in run fit as well, even though Tampa Bay's been pretty good against the run. So I think they will go with Peter Woods, pair him up with Vita Bay, and that's a monster duo in the interior. Keep an eye on Tampa Bay in the edge market in free agency if you're listening to this on Monday as well. The Jets back on the clock. I think if the board falls like this for them, I don't know what I would want them to do. They don't need tackles. Kenyon Sadiq, no, not this early. I don't like anything. I do know what I like here if I'm the New York Jets. Olivega Ioane. He might be a top 5 player in the draft. I haven't watched the tape on him, but that is just off of what I've heard other talking heads that I respect on Olivega Ioane. I heard Mensch on the Todd McShay podcast, Todd McShay show, talk about this guy like he was one of the best interior offensive lineman prospects they've ever seen. Get this guy on this Jets offensive line. The Jets could have the best offensive line if he's as good as some of these analysts say for the next 5 years. With Armand Membu, Joe Tittman, Josh Myers, Olavavega, Ioane. And there is some potential, like, actually, you know what? The Lions are coming up. The Lions are coming up. The Lions need interior defensive line play. They need help. They need help on the interior defensive line so fucking bad that the Lions are trading one spot and a 4th-round pick, or in their 5th-round pick, to move up one spot with the New York Jets to pick Olavavega Ioane, who some draft heads have as the best interior offensive lineman prospect they have ever seen. I haven't done my homework on him, but that's just what some people are saying. So the Jets pick up a little bit more draft capital to move back one spot in the draft, and the Jets are a team that needs to do this because they have just so many holes. Low key, though, I don't know if I would do that if I'm the Jets. Like, taking a guy to just solidify that elite offensive line could be a move here. But then they have so many holes on the defensive side of the ball as well that if Caleb Banks or Caden McDonald is staring, Caden McDonald's one of my favorite players in the draft. He's not getting the respect that he deserves from these other guys. And I have watched more Ohio State defense than Florida or Auburn's, but he is just a fucking monster. I think Sonny Styles, it looks really, really good, and Arvell Reese looks really, really good as off-ball defenders, often because of what Caden McDonald does on the interior. He is a stud. The Jets get a Quinnen Williams replacement, although not that Caden McDonald be Quinnen Williams, but sure up that interior of the defensive line. And in a division where you have Drake May and Josh Allen, you need to get pressure with 4. Caden McDonald and Arvell Reese are 2 cornerstone pieces in your opportunity to try and do that. The Vikings at 18. Now they could be in the market for an interior defensive lineman. They could be in the market for a corner. They could be in the market for Harrison Smith for safety or replacement at safety, and Dylan Theinman fits that description a whole lot. I don't know how he is as a scheme fit, but I know Brian Flores loves smart players, and I think Theinman in the back end here to Minnesota would just feed families. Harrison Smith, a replacement. The Panthers got to go edge here. They got to go Keldrick Falk. They need help on the outside. Their offense is honestly in a good spot. I think their offensive line is very underrated with Ike Ekwonu, who's not the greatest, but he's serviceable. And then Taylor Moton is one of the best right tackles in the sport. Their interior of the offensive line is pretty solid, if I'm remembering correctly. They have a good weapon. They have good weapons in Jalen Coker and Ted McMillan. There's no real weapon at this point that I think would be a reach to go Denzel Boston here. Their secondary is pretty good with Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn. I think edge is their biggest need. Keldrick Falk, Derek Brown, lock that in. I don't know why Keldrick Falk. I got to really do my homework on this guy too. But a lot of people like him, so I'm going to just go with that at name value. I like Messidor and Howell a lot. They're 2 guys that I've watched more than Keldrick Falk, but it seems to be pretty consensus that Falk is like the A1 in the next tier of edge rushers. So we'll just go there, play it safe. The Cowboys back on the clock at 20. Interesting team. I'm out on Avion Terrell. Maybe I have to watch a little bit more tape, but from what I've seen, he's just not very good. The Cowboys offense, I think, is fine. They have one of the best offenses in the league last season, so they have to be going defense here, you would think. Their defensive line is in a pretty good spot. So they got to go. CJ Allen is just a real fucking dog for Georgia, and we know how Georgia defenders, especially Georgia linebackers, translate in the NFL. So CJ Allen here to Dallas makes a little bit of sense. That is a hole, that off-ball linebacker position. D'Angelo Pons, man, I want to do it. I might just do it. They need a corner. They already went Jamal McCoy. They could just load up on edge rushers, keep him in Texas, and go Cassius Howell here. I don't think that's crazy at all. Why am I not seeing Cassius Howell's name? Am I fucking blind? Am I blind here? 53, this website has him at. That's a fucking joke. That guy's an unbelievable pass rusher. Messidor here could be a good shout. Caleb Banks could be a good shout, but they have Kenny Clark. They have Quinnen Williams. They just go athlete here. Just go CJ Allen. Get an absolute fucking athlete at the off-ball linebacker position with Overshown there. The Steelers at 21, they have a lot of needs on the offensive side of the ball. They lost Isaac Seumalo, who was their best offensive lineman last year, so they could go O-line. They don't have a wide receiver, too. They don't have a quarterback. Could they go Ty Simpson here? Potentially, but it's like if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, and you draft Ty Simpson, I don't think that'd be good for Ty Simpson. The worst thing that could happen to the Steelers is they draft Ty Simpson, and then Aaron Rodgers, and they still don't know if Aaron Rodgers is coming back, and then Aaron Rodgers decides not to come back, and there's a quarterback battle this offseason between Ty Simpson and Will Howard. Because that means they spent their first round pick on not a wide receiver. So whoever wins that mid-ass QB battle is going to be throwing the football to George Pickens, or not George Pickens, excuse me, DK Metcalf. Steelers fans wish it was George Pickens. DK Metcalf and Scotty Miller. Calvin Austin's a free agent. Roman Wilson and DK Metcalf. I think Omar Khan hates the wide receiver 2 position, but at 21, I'm not going to do it. I think they got to go receiver here. And I think so far, like my wide receiver 4, wow, this website's all over the place. I think Omar Cooper might be my wide receiver 4. And I'm not just saying that because this website has it. Like, I've been really bullish on him. Denzel Boston's route tree is very limited. Like, he's not an explosive route runner, and separation is what gets me going. Chris Bell seems like more of a yak guy than anything. Chris Brazel, I haven't done my homework. I've done some homework on like Jacoby Lane, Elijah Serrato, 2 guys I'm out on. Zachariah Branch. I wouldn't say I'm out on Jacoby Lane, but not this early. Zachariah Branch is a guy to keep in mind as well. But it's just a tough spot here. Like this is a tough spot. The Steelers are a tough team here, man. They are losing James Pierre. They could go corner here and just pair up somebody with JPJ, who's coming off a fantastic year. They have Jalen Ramsey in the back end. They could go edge here as well. They might just go best player available. And who's the best player at this point? Caleb Banks is a fucking monster. Everybody knows I'm bullish on Messidor. D'Angelo Pons here wouldn't be crazy. But they just drafted Derek Harmon. So it's like, how much do the Steelers go need here, or how much do they go BPA? The Steelers are a fucking impossible team to try and like mock here. I went Kenyon Sadiq, but I watched some Kenyon Sadiq a little bit, very little. And he's not as good on film as he is, getting off the bus. The Steelers are just fucking. Let's just go best player available. And right now, I think the best player available on this board is probably Caleb Banks. So we're just gonna go Caleb Banks, even though they have Derek Harmon. But it's just crazy. It's crazy to me. Like the Steelers, why are they such a hard team to draft to pick for at 21 when there's no receiver on the board? They could reach on Omar Cooper, but I don't know. The Chargers at 22, they need interior offensive line help. They could go with the dude out of Oregon, Emmanuel Pregnon. Oh, Chase Basante. They have the Texas A&M guard higher, and I will say I did watch a little bit of Texas A&M offense, and this dude is a fucking monster. But I feel like I haven't watched enough Oregon offense to get a good vibe. Their tackles are fine, and they just extended them. They could use another receiver. Maybe they go defense here if you're the Chargers. I'm trying to think. Tuitu Pelotu. They just signed Taylor Tart. They have good off-ball line. They need corners. Corner. And everybody likes Avion Terrell. I don't, but I guess that's what we're going. No, they go, fuck that. Best corner on the board is D'Angelo Pons. Fucking tired of pretending it's not. They go D'Angelo Pons at 22. The Eagles at 23. I think they could trade A.J. Brown here. Should I do it on draft day? No, but that wouldn't make sense. You're not trading. I think the Eagles need a corner as well. I mean, who is it? Who's their CB2? It's Quignon, DeJean. They could use an edge rusher. They're probably losing Jalen Phillips in free agency. This is why free agency would be huge to see like what people have done, what the signings have been. I'm just gonna say they go corner. They go Colton Hood, who I've watched a little bit of. And you get a good CB on the outside with Quignon and Cooper Jean in the nickel. The Browns back on the clock. They need offense. Who did the Browns go for with their first pick? Mauiaga. This would low-key work out for them if Fano fell this far and they just go Fano at tackle and they get their 2 cornerstone tackles. I don't think that's crazy for the Browns at all here. Get Shadur some protection. Shadus. All right, who's on the clock now? This is fucking website's lagging. The Bears. The Bears are an interesting team. They need offensive line help as well. Now, with your Dahlman retiring, they could go receiver here. Luther Burden, Roma Dunze is pretty solid. Colson Loveland's a good player. Maybe they go corner they need help on the back end. They are losing to Sean Wright. They are losing. Yeah, they gotta go defensive back here. They gotta go defensive back. Brandon Cease, Avion Terrell. They need a corner to go on the outside with Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon lining up in the slot. They could go safety here as well, but I don't think there's a safety good enough for them to come off the board here. So I think the Bears will go Avion Terrell. Just get that fucking name off my screen. The Bills got to be a lock for Omar Cooper, but they don't have edge rush help either. The Bills need defense, actually. Their defense is a joke now. They go Akeem Messidor, get a more than serviceable pass rusher who was just as productive as Ruben Bain was, if not more productive. Watching Miami's defense back, those two fuckers ran into each other a whole lot. The 49ers at 27, they could use wide receiver help here as well. They could use some secondary help, and I think the corner market is looking pretty good for them at this point. I think they could go with a guy like Brandon Cease, but again, I haven't done my homework on him. I did do a little bit of homework on Keith Abney. He's nothing really jumped off the screen on me about him, but again, it was really only one game in Jordan Tyson film, so I wasn't too focused on Keith Abney, even though he doesn't play on offense either way. This is tough. I think they could go offense here, and I think Omar Cooper is the move here. Omar Cooper. Actually, no, they could go tackle. I know they have Colin Mikovits, but Trent Brown might not be coming back. Lumu this late could be a play, but I also think like Omar Cooper, they need some help in the receiving room. I don't know if they're bringing Kendrick Bourne back. It's like Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle. Omar Cooper is an elite separator. Gives you more than enough after the catch. Not great ball tracking. He does struggle with the contested catch over the shoulder, but he just gets open, bro. Give me Omar Cooper at 27. The Texans at 28. They need offensive line play. If Caleb Lomo's staring them in the face, they go Caleb Lomo. The Chiefs at 29 with that Rams pick for Trent McDuffie. They could use an offensive lineman. They could also use another receiver, but I think most importantly, man, they need defense over there in Kansas City. They go with whichever corner they really like at this late round. What a calculated move by the Chiefs, because they're gonna get their pick of the litter here for the most part at the corner position with that second tier of guys, and they have just been a corner factory. So I think they go Brandon Cease out of South Carolina just because I think he's the best name on this board. The Broncos at 30, they could use another wide receiver to go on the other side with. Oh my gosh, my brain. With Courtland Sutton. I don't think they do that though. I think they're a tough team here, man. The Broncos are a tough team. Like I want to go Denzel Boston, but what are you getting out of a 7? Like, that's not the you think about Sean Payton, that's not the type of receiver he likes. He doesn't like the big go up and moss you type of receivers. He likes the Casey Concepcion type of receivers over there in Denver. Get him in the building. The Patriots at 31. This is a layup here. They go with Caden Proctor out of Alabama. They need offensive line help desperately, even if it's not to replace Will Campbell, and it's to go with Morgan Moses on the other side. And then at the last pick of the first round, the Seahawks go best player available, and the best player available at this point would be Kenyon Sadiq. Imagine him on that offense. But they just have so many, like, they don't have that many holes. They'll just go BPA, and Sadiq would be the best player on the board at that point. That's the first round mock. Now I'll send it to myself. Like and subscribe. Mock Draft Mondays every Monday. If you're listening to this in the middle of your Monday, I might be live on TikTok going through free agency at Fire Sports Takes on TikTok. So lock in, like, and subscribe. I love you guys. If you're listening on Spotify, we'll get into Saturday basketball recap right now.